I will not hesitate in using all of the tools available to hold you accountable should you not provide truthful and accurate answers, which up till now you have not.
Okay, folks. You ready?
Thank you so much, and thank you to both witnesses for being under your 5-minute allotment. Mr. Cooper, we'll turn to you for 6 minutes, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Shukevich, you have operated as a key organizer for the longest ballot committee and served as the official agent for many of the candidates affiliated with the longest ballot committee, correct?
That is correct.
And your brother, Kieran Shukevich, also is an organizer with the longest ballot committee, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, and I want to ask you some questions about the recruitment of candidates and the collection of nomination signatures for the longest ballot committee. When you and other organizers from the longest ballot committee were collecting signatures, at times electors would have been presented with multiple nomination forms to sign simultaneously.
That's correct.
Okay. And as you went about collecting signatures and recruiting candidates, the longest ballot committee told prospective candidates that they didn't have to worry about collecting signatures because the longest ballot committee already had collected the 100 or more signatures needed for them to get onto the ballot. Isn't that true?
No, that's not true. You have that a little bit backwards. So we recruit candidates, we get all their names, and then we collect signatures for them. We're not like just collecting signatures for people who said they don't want to run.
So I have a video that you posted on YouTube to the longest ballot committee on August 18th, 2024.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen. The video that Thomas posted, the longest ballot committee, way back when. The video he subsequently removed from YouTube because it's kind of a problem. It's kind of a problem. And it's just wild that we know this is from our stuff now. Like this is from our videos. It's crazy. It's crazy that he's doing this. But it's a huge indictment of the longest ballot. And if it wasn't, why would they take it down?
In respect of the LaSalle-Imard-Verdun by-election, in which you state that if we're going to break the record for the longest ballot, we need everyone to sign up as soon as possible. We've already collected 100 nomination signatures for you. All you have to do is follow the instructions. So, in fact, you and other organizers for the longest ballot committee were going around with nomination forms that didn't have candidates' names on them. Isn't that correct?
That is not correct.
I'm going to stop you there, Mr. Shukevich, because I have a tweet that was posted by the longest ballot committee on January 22nd, 2024, of you, of Kieran, and of I believe, a Glenn McDonald.
Oh. Oh, you mean this tweet? You mean that one?
Yep.
And when you look more closely, this is you. We see where the candidate's name is on the nomination form with signatures. The candidate's name is blank. So that's precisely what you were doing, was going out and collecting signatures getting electors to sign blank nomination forms, not candidate nomination forms.
That is not accurate.
Well, I just present you with evidence, documentary
No,
evidence,
that's
that
not-
establishes that, in fact, it is accurate. And I want to caution you, sir, but you're testifying before a parliamentary committee, and you have an obligation to answer my questions fully and truthfully. And if you fail to do so, sir, you can be held in contempt of Parliament. And I want to make clear to you that I will not hesitate in using all of the tools available to hold you accountable should you not provide truthful and accurate answers, which up till now you have not. So I'm going to give you one last opportunity to confirm on the record that you went about collecting signatures from electors where the candidate's name was blank. That's what you did, right?
No.
Gotta love Cooper. He is just such a pit bull, right? Such a pit bull. And he's like, look, right here, right here. And maybe we're seeing Christian Fur 3.0 because, you know, we already had. I don't have that meme with me. We already have Steven Anderson, so he was 2.0. So maybe this is 3.0, right? 3.0. Maybe he's going to be summoned to the bar of the House and admonished in front of all of the entire nation. Wouldn't that be something, folks? Listen to what Thomas tries to say here. Just listen to what he tries to do here.
That is not accurate. If you would give me a chance to actually respond, you've made quite a few incorrect assumptions here. Where would you like me to begin? With the AI doctored images or with your misunderstanding of what sign up means?
AI doctored images. AI doctored images. Elliot, member for 19 months. Coop Dog is a beast. Yes, he is.
So when in that video, when I say sign up, what I'm referring to is that these are candidates who have already expressed that they want to run. We then collected their signatures with the candidate name at the top. Obviously, that's the rule.
It's not at the
It
top.
was at the top. I was there.
Yes, it was
And
not at the
then
top.
when we say we already have your signatures, you need to finish signing up, that is referring to fill out your forms, book a appointment with the returning officer to do your declaration. Like, this is very straightforward. You have it kind of mixed up. If you want to talk about those AI manipulated photos, I'm happy to do so.
These are, I don't have anything mixed up. What I have are
Respectfully, you do have that
a
mixed up.
YouTube video.
If I can for a moment, Mr. Shukevich.
Yeah.
A position that members of Parliament are honourable, and to accuse a member of Parliament of doctoring images, I think you should tread very carefully in that. I don't know about these images, but I'm giving you a warning in terms of, I don't find it funny, sir. I don't think you should find it funny either. Mr. Cooper is correct in what Parliament can do, and perhaps you don't have respect for the individuals sitting at these chairs. Please have respect for the institution, the electors that put us here.
So this guy is sitting there, and the chair interrupts Cooper, which is his prerogative. As soon as the chair starts speaking, everyone has to be quiet. That's the rule. The chair then admonishes Thomas. What does Thomas do? He starts laughing. You want everybody to take you seriously. You want everybody to take the longest ballot seriously, and you're laughing in parliamentary committee when you are being admonished by the chair. Even the chair, who's a liberal, folks, who's a liberal, and I give Biddle all the credit in the world for this committee meeting. I give him all the credit in the world because Cooper didn't ask him to interject. He interjected. He interjected because he saw a witness acting very inappropriately with one of the members. The opposing team, as it were. So people may have their opinions of Biddle in the broader sense, but when it comes to this specific committee meeting, I think Biddle did an outstanding job. I do, because he didn't have to interject, and he did. Right? He could have just let this go on, and Thomas can continue to disrespect Cooper in his questioning, but he didn't. And then Thomas starts disrespecting the chair by laughing. It's unreal.
Jackson, 5 minutes, please.
Back to the
Yeah,
Conservatives.
thank you, Chair. Just to confirm with you, Mr. Shukevich, in your submission to the committee, it said that whoever wrote the submission, I'm not sure if that was you, said that they watched the testimony from the Chief Electoral Officer last week. So just wanting to confirm if that was you that authored that document or not, and did you watch the Chief Electoral Officer's testimony last week?
Yeah, my brother and I wrote that document. And yeah, I watched the testimony last week.
Okay, so you'll have seen then that the Chief Electoral Officer testified last week that your actions in various constituencies, whether it be general or by-election, affect every voter's access to vote, but the actions of your organization particularly hurt and block the ability of seniors and folks with disabilities to be able to cast their ballot. Those who are born with additional needs and the seniors who built this country should not have barriers put in their way by a political stunt that has no motivation or request from the public to change our electoral system. So what kind of an organization would try to prevent those most vulnerable in our society and our seniors from being able to access their constitutional right to vote?
I hope you're ready for this answer, folks. I hope you're ready for this, because it's one of the dumbest answers I think I've heard in committee for a long, long time. A long, long time.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, that's a great question. So as we all know, the design of federal ballots is prescribed by the Election Act, which is written by you MPs. So I'm not aware of any documented cases of people actually being prevented from voting because of too many candidates. I am aware of existing accessibility concerns surrounding the voting process. The Canadian National Institute for the Blind gave a series of recommendations to this very committee on improving accessibility when Bill C-65 was being discussed. I would point out that none of their recommendations have been implemented by you, and I would also point out that none of their recommendations involved arbitrarily restricting citizens' rights to run as a candidate. So I'm not an expert on accessible ballot design, so I would suggest that you talk to the disability advocates for that.
So let me interpret that and translate that. My answer to your question is it's your fault. It's not my fault, it's your fault. You designed the ballot, so it's your fault. And I'm not an expert on this, so go talk to somebody else. Really? That's your answer? Not my problem, your problem. It's unreal. Like this is the answer of a child. I take no responsibility for my actions. It's your fault.
Well, thank you, Chair. I think the Chief Electoral Officer has spoken to disability advocates and has heard multiple complaints. The number of complaints about this election were higher than it has been before, which was also presented as part of his testimony. So whether or not it's the end goal of your organization, this is the result that people had a more difficult time casting their ballot in this election, both in the Battle River Crowfoot by-election and in the general election, than ever before. And they were predominantly seniors who had to wait in longer lines and found the sometimes meter-long ballot more inaccessible or people with disabilities, including, as you mentioned, people that are vision impaired. So these actions have caused people not only to be unable to wait in the line longer to vote, but also required in many cases no longer their ability to privately vote because they required assistance in the ballot box in order to manage the ballot that your organization forced to be so unwieldy that they could not manage it on their own. Why would you take these actions? And what do you have to say to those Canadians who had their privacy breached because of their inability to manage the ballot on their own because of your campaign's actions?
Mr. Speaker, I would, again, I don't design the ballot. The ballot design is written in the Elections Act, which means you MPs actually design the ballot. And if the Chief Electoral Officer was following the will of Parliament, then it actually would have been twice as long in those two-column situations. Of course, for operational reasons, understandably, he had to make emergency amendments to the Elections Act in order to not make it like 4 meters long. So yeah, if you're concerned about accessible ballot design, I strongly suggest you talk to disability advocates because I'm not an expert on this, and I have no power to change the design of the ballot.
So basically, I have nothing to say to everybody. Screw you all. That's what I glean from that. And again, this is from he and his brother. Kieran's the guy who issued a court challenge in 2017, clutching his chest because his charter rights were infringed because there was a $1,000 fee. But he was also challenging the court to drop the 100 signature requirement. And he was also challenging the court to drop the witness requirement. So he was trying to get the court to wipe it all out, that anybody can just walk up and be like, no signatures, no witness, no 1,000, I'm running. And you're trying to say that infringe on your charter rights. Meanwhile, you guys are doing this, and you think it's some big frickin' joke.
Mr. Calkins for 6 minutes, please.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chair. I always appreciate hearing from Canadians, particularly those who think we shouldn't have politicians making laws. They think that other people should be making laws other than people who are actually elected and accountable and re-accountable to the electorate. I fail to see the logic, to be quite frank with you, given the fact that, as my colleague Mr. Jackson said, even when the Liberals had a majority in 2015 to 2019 and proposed electoral reform, the Canadian public actually, through their elected representatives, decide whether or not something is going to be palatable. And that's how we actually go through the sausage-making effort of making laws, regulations, including laws regarding our elections being at this particular committee. Anybody with a basic understanding of a civics class would know that. But I want to ask my first question to Mr. Lowen.
Did you see what he did there? Did you see what Calkins did there? It was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. He completely indicts Thomas's position, gives him a backhand insult that anyone with a basic level civics class education would understand this, and then says, but I'm not going to talk to you, I'm going to talk to Lowen, prohibiting Thomas from responding to him. So he doesn't even allow him the opportunity to have any sort of retort. So that was absolutely brilliant by Calkins to do that.
The Chief Elections Officer, Mr. Perot, told the committee that people should face penalties for signing multiple nomination papers. Would you agree with that statement?
Yeah, I believe that was one of his suggestions. I don't really see a reason for that. I don't really see the logic in it. Personally, I prefer it when there's more than one candidate on the ballot. So I should be able, as a voter, to nominate more than one candidate.
What a stupid answer. This guy. Oh, personally, I don't see the logic in it. I don't see why he would even want that. Now you're being obtuse. You're being willfully ignorant. You're either really dumb, which I don't think you're dumb, or you're being obtuse. So it's the second thing. I personally like to see more than one person on the ballot. You personally like to see 200 people on the ballot. Duh.
I will exercise my ability as chair to ask a question, and it's picking up on what Mr. Culkins was alluding to with appointing people who would seemingly not be accountable. I know in our system, and I think you even spoke about it in terms of the Elections Canada being respected.
Ironically, folks, maybe the most important question in the entire committee comes from the chair, Liberal chair. Pay very close attention.
Executive appoints a nominee to be the head of Elections Canada, and an organization that's independent like the RCMP is appointed and then is accountable to Parliament. It worries me that you're proposing an agency that may not be accountable. Who are these individuals who would be appointed to this committee? I guess is my question, if it wasn't going to be politicians or the executive who was going to make that appointment.
Yep, that's a fantastic question. I'm not a policy expert. It's very obvious to everyone that it's inappropriate for conflict of interest for MPs to be in charge of it. So I'm extremely confident that if you had an in-depth discussion about it, you could come up with something very reasonable.
So well, I guess I'll leave it as a comment that it's very bizarre to me that you're engaging in this protest without the very basic answer to the first question that would come up in solving what you are seeking to protest.
That one question exposes the entire charade. You've been doing this for 6 years. 6 years. What do you propose? Well, the same people that I'm saying are corrupt and the same people that I'm saying, are doing this in their best interest, I'm sure you can come up with something good.